So we give you a lovely look over downtown Indianapolis. It looks like brighter than ever to me this morning. I don't know why, but
it does.
It is colder than it has been for just a bit here, but we're gonna have a nice rebound, which sounds nice.
Yeah, that's right. Did you have the heat on coming?
Of course. I have it on when it's 70, so that's no surprise.
Well, I'm loving this stuff, but I'll tell you, we have major changes in the way, and by major, I think tomorrow and possibly Wednesday, we could at least tie records. That's how warm it's going to get. But this morning, it is comfortably crisp out there. In fact, around the area, we're dry. And you know, that dry air does a couple of things. It cools really fast, but it also can warm up fast. Our dew points are low. And notice there's some cloud cover moving into Illinois, but there are no clouds, or there's no rain under those clouds. So here we go with a very brisk start. I think some of you will have a touch of frost this morning. 42 here, but 36 degrees right now in Carmel, Martinsville and Greenwood and Rushville at 37, as is Newcastle. Avon's at 36, as is Brownsburg. 35 in Kokomo. Lafayette, you're at 38. Beautiful Richmond's at 35 this morning. And again, in some of these rural areas especially, you're talking about maybe 31, 32, 33 degrees. So that's why you folks are going to see some frost this morning. Now, notice the jet stream moving to the north, that Pacific flow of the jet. And what that's going to do the next couple of days is allow this warmer air to really flourish. A reminder, the sun doesn't come up till 8:10 this morning. At that point, we'll be at 40. 51 will be our temperature at recess time at school. Coming home, 70 degrees, and we'll have more on the 80s tomorrow in just a few minutes. But it was pretty busy in construction over the weekend. How are we looking this morning, Lindsay?
We've got a lot of stuff that reopened early, which is good news. And then we've got some projects that are still ongoing. And that's where I want to start on the south side this morning. This is a look from 465 eastbound at the ramp system at the new I-69 ramps in Harding Street. The Harding Street ramp still remains closed and will for the next couple of days. You can see we've got some barricades set up here. The same deal coming from Harding Street onto 465 westbound. That ramp is also going to remain closed for the next couple of days while they do some paving operations there. So that should reopen soon. So that's at least some good news, but we'll keep you posted there. Your alternate route would be to stick with those new 69 ramps down to Epler Avenue or the old State Road 37. Guys?
Thanks, Lindsay. We're continuing to follow breaking news right here at 6 this morning. Right now on the south side, state police are investigating a police shooting.
Now, this happened overnight as Southport police officer was trying to make a traffic stop near the Berkeley Commons apartment complex that's near Madison Avenue and Stop 11 Road. Police here still on the scene as we're giving you a live look here where they're obviously still gathering information. So here's what we know. Police tell us the driver of the vehicle parked the car after the chase and then got out and ran. During that pursuit, it's believed the suspect fired at least one shot. The officer did fire back towards the suspect.
The driver was shot and treated at the scene before being transported to a local hospital. We're told his injuries are non-life-threatening. That driver is in police custody right now, and we do know that no officers were hurt.
Also this morning, we're looking for more details about what led to a deadly shooting on Indy's east side. Yeah, we brought you this as breaking news last night at 11. We know what happened on on the Brookside Avenue, rather, near Massachusetts Avenue or Rural Street. When officers got to the scene, they discovered the victim dead in an alleyway. Right now, investigators tell 13 News they're still trying to figure out what exactly led up to the gunfire.
So it's very early on in the investigation, but so far we haven't found anyone that saw anything, and we have not had any other phone calls other than the initial phone call of someone calling in saying they saw somebody down in the alley.
So we right now know that police would like anyone who has any information who could help in this search here, call Crime Stoppers or IMPD. 6:04 also this morning, we're working to find out the condition of a suspect shot by police in connection to an alleged carjacking.
This happened yesterday afternoon on North Keeling Avenue near 10th and Sherman. Metro Police say officers were investigating another case in that area when an SUV pulled up to stop. A woman got out and told officers she was being held at gunpoint by the man in the vehicle. She said the man had jumped into her SUV, pointed a gun at her, and then told her to drive around the neighborhood.
So scary. It happened right in the middle of the afternoon, too. IMPD says that carjacking suspect then pointed the gun at officers when they told him to get out of the car. That's when an officer shot him. The officer also used a taser on the suspect, who now we know is in critical condition.
Because there's no way in my mind that this could have been prevented other than the person not forcefully taking and kidnapping a woman, forcing her to drive around while a gun was pointed to her head. So if anybody has a solution to that would have prevented that, I'm all ears.
Now, the good news here, no officers were injured. Chief Bailey says that woman who was carjacked is very shaken up, as you could imagine, but she will be okay. This morning, we're also waiting to hear back from police about a homicide investigation that happened on the city's east side over the weekend. On Saturday night, officers were called to Washington Street near North Sherman. That's where they found a man outside, dead on the ground with traumatic injuries. Right now, they have not given any information about a suspect or motive. So if you do have any information, call Crime Stoppers.
This morning, 2 men involved in a shooting are in critical condition. Police responded to East 38th Street Saturday afternoon on reports of a shooting near the supermarket parking lot. When they got to the scene, they found one of the victims with a gunshot wound. While police were helping that victim, investigators say they found another person barely a block away. 13 News spoke with the mom who didn't want to go on camera. However, she says it now makes her worried about having her children outside.
I try to keep them as close as possible to me, and let them know what to avoid, where to go, what to look for.
Now, we have reached out to police to get more information on about how the victims are connected and if there are a possible motive or suspects in this case. Of course, we'll pass along any new information as soon as we get it.
Well, I'm going to show you some video this morning from above Saturday night. You can see here the fire department helping veterans and families building. That's where they are right there in downtown Indy.
Yeah, this morning we know dozens of veterans are without a place to call home this morning after a massive fire destroyed their apartment building.
So as we mentioned, this happened on Saturday evening. Sia New Yorker joins us now with the very latest, and hopefully the good news is no one was hurt in this fire.
Yes, good morning, Julia. Good morning, Matthew. That is the good news. No loss of life. But if you take a look right behind me, you can see that the building is boarded up and there is crime scene caution tape as investigators work to find out how this fire started. Now take a look. Just after 9:30 on Saturday, IFD crews were called here to 10th and North Pennsylvania for reports of a fire. When they arrived, they found the Helping Veterans and Families building and its surrounding apartments engulfed in flames. Now, 3 people were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. According to IFD, all 51 residents were located as of Sunday afternoon, and all are said to be military veterans.
This place helps us homeless vets that doesn't have a place to live, so they give us a place to get a job, get our lives together, then help us look for a house or an apartment to live in. That was the whole goal of what this place did. They helped serve us vets.
Again, the exact cause of the fire is under investigation by the state fire marshal, IFD, and ATF. Now, all of this as everyone works to try to help these veterans come together. I'll have that part of the story coming up on Sunrise at 6:30. Matthew, Julia.
All right, thanks, Sia.
Well, in just a few hours, the Delphi murders trial will get back underway for the 9th day of testimony. Today also marks 2 years since prosecutors arrested and charged Richard Allen with the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German.
Last week, one of the lead investigators spoke about the first interview with Allen after his arrest. Also, defense attorney Andrew Baldwin asked to be able to show the jury that video from Allen's 2 interviews with police, so we know that will happen sometime this week.
And don't forget, every weeknight, we're breaking down what happens in court on that day in our Delphi debrief. Our reporters in Delphi and our legal analysts will take a deep look into the case and what happened that day. You can watch that on our WTHR Plus streaming app. This is free to download on Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and Roku. Well, not the home opener the Pacers or the fans were looking for last night. The blue and gold falling to the 76ers in overtime, 118-114.
This was a tough loss. However, Pacers all-star Tyrese Haliburton scoring 22, bouncing back after that scoreless Friday night against the New York Knicks. Haliburton actually hit the 3 to force the game into overtime. Pascal Siakam chipped in 17 points, but it was not enough to give the team the edge over the Sixers.
So the Pacers are on the road tonight. They'll play the Magic. 6:10, turning to football, also not the night for another Indianapolis team, our Indianapolis Colts, of course.
Yes, the shoe unfortunately falling to the Texans 23-20. That loss now puts the Colts at 4-4 in the season. It's also the second loss against the Texans this year. While a win was in sight, it came down to the Colts failing on a potential game-winning drive.
Coming up at 6:40, 513 Sports, Dominic Miranda joins us in studio with the Colts wake-up call. He has the answers about what happened in the final minutes, also what the team needs to do moving forward.